Hello and welcome to this video. Maggie got real scared. Maggie. Psst, psst, psst. She doesn't care. Today, my queer friends, we're gonna talk about some trans things. I feel like I rarely ever make these kinds of videos, but it's something that I want to start doing a little bit more often. And I saw Noah Fins making a video where he answered questions that people are too afraid to ask trans people, because I know we have a lot of those. So I wanted to do that as well. So I have gathered a lot of questions from you. I have not read them yet, so I don't know how weird these are, but I guess we'll see. Just a disclaimer as well, a lot of these questions are probably going to be about sex or sex related or just in that area, because I feel like a lot of these questions have to do with sex and the body usually, so just letting you know, be prepared for that. All right, let's begin. Does bottom growth hurt? First of all, if you don't know what bottom growth is, it might be a good thing to look that up beforehand. I wouldn't say it necessarily hurts that much, but it's very sensitive and can be very uncomfortable. The only time it hurts, I'm speaking from a personal perspective now, is when you have to clean it and wash it. But otherwise, it can be uncomfortable in the first few weeks or months when you experience bottom growth, because it's very sensitive and can be uncomfortable wearing like tight boxers, things like that, if it's rubbing against your bottom growth. Another question about bottom growth, I might just put this together with the other one. How does bottom growth feel? I feel like this also is very individual, because like the size of the bottom growth differs, the look of like your entire genital area looks different, so it's going to feel a little bit different. So I'm just going to speak from my own experience and what I've heard from other people, but like I mentioned, it is very sensitive and it can like hurt to touch it too much, but when you're aroused, it does become harder and longer. That's also very individual, how much longer it gets, how much harder it gets. It's basically like it is for cis men with penises. Like they all look different, they all grow differently when you're aroused and when you're not. But when you are like having sex or masturbating, since your bottom growth is bigger than it was before testosterone, you're gonna feel more, which feels better in my opinion. But personally, it has not really helped with my bottom dysphoria whatsoever. But for a lot of trans men, it does help a lot and it feels a lot better, because you can feel when it gets hard, and that it does get longer and harder up until you come, basically. I know people are scared of it, but there's really nothing to be scared of. It's not that big of a difference, really, in my opinion. Someone said their dead name, and I'm guessing they mean they want to know trans people's dead name, which I know you shouldn't ask, at least someone you don't know or someone you barely know. But if it's someone that you've known for a longer time, I feel like there's no harm in asking, like,
would you be comfortable sharing your dead name with me? I just want to know, I'm just curious.
And then if that person says no, respect that decision. If they say yes, then, well, then you're gonna know, but then just don't think about it that much. Some people don't mind whatsoever sharing their dead name because it doesn't matter anymore. But I know a lot of people are also very uncomfortable with it and don't want people to know. I feel like I wouldn't want to tell people unless it's someone that I've known for a longer time, and I don't know, it's very, very individual, but it's not something I would ask. It's not something you should ask a trans person you don't know. How do you handle high sex drive? Well, I've got to say though, not every single trans person on testosterone experiences high sex drive, and I feel like we all experience it in different levels. But honestly, what helps is basically to masturbate or to have sex with your partner if you have one. I know that some people are uncomfortable with masturbation, and in that case, there are many ways to figure it out in ways that are less comfortable, if that makes sense. Finding a way that works for you and then just doing it when you're horny. For me personally, I just get horny very randomly and very often, but after I get to do my thing, it just goes away for a while, and then I can just concentrate on what I was doing. Before testosterone, that never happened to me. I could always just like,
I guess I'm in the mood a little bit, okay.
But now it's like,
I have to do something about this.
I wouldn't say that it's something that's very difficult to handle, and I'm someone who has a lot of bottom dysphoria, and I still manage, even though it's not always the easiest, but in my experience, it's only been a good thing. So, what public bathrooms do you use? I'm pretty sure if I enter the women's bathroom, people would look at me and be like, what the hell is he doing in here? Even before transitioning, when I was like a lesbian, I wore crop tops and eyeliner, people still look at me and thought that I was a guy in the wrong bathrooms. I even started going to the male restrooms before starting testosterone, like now and then, just to get used to it, and people really don't give a fuck. Of course, it does depend a little bit on how passing you are, and for safety reasons, I wouldn't say do it whenever. And right now, I always use the men's restroom and the men's locker room, and I've done that since I was like 3 months on T. Okay, next one. Are the orgasms different? FTM. I'm early transitioning and starting T next week. I'm assuming this person means, are the orgasms different when you're on testosterone? I've heard that some people feel a big difference, but for me, it's not that big of a difference. The only difference I feel is that I feel it more in my legs and like through my feet and toes in a different way than before. I also feel like they're a little bit shorter and more intense, but everyone is also different and everyone's gonna have a different experience. So next question. Do you ever feel bad/guilty about transitioning, in a sense that, but everyone's used to my dead name? I definitely was at first, and that's part of the reason why I was so scared to come out, because I thought about like it would be difficult and a hassle for people to have to adjust to my new name and have to adjust to he, him pronouns, and that it would just be inconvenient for them, and especially with like my parents, and thinking that they have always seen me as their daughter and they have always like pictured me getting married in like a wedding dress, and I didn't want them to feel like they lost something, you know? I was just scared that it would just be inconvenient for people, basically. And that's also very common, I feel like, and especially if you're a people pleaser, then you're gonna think about people all the time and you're not gonna wanna be, like I said, in inconvenience. So it's gonna be more difficult. But once you do come out and people are struggling, they might not understand, it's still so worth it, because if these are people that actually love you, which are the only ones that matter, then they're just gonna be happy that you're finally happy, and they're gonna see you evolve and become more happy, and that's just a good thing. Even if you have guilt, you shouldn't, basically. Another bottom growth question. Can you pee from it standing up, or do you need bottom surgery to do that? And no, you cannot pee from your bottom growth, because your pee hole is not placed there. Your pee hole is gonna stay where it is. It's not located on your bottom growth. It's located more underneath. You need bottom surgery if you want to be able to stand up to pee, specifically phalloplasty, which is basically creating a phallus that you can pee out of. You can also get another type of surgery, which is called metoidioplasty, I think, which means you don't create a phallus, you just use your bottom growth basically as your penis, and since it's still gonna be the same length, you're not gonna be able to stand up to pee unless you use like an STP made for people who have had that surgery. Okay, these are two questions, but they kind of merge into one. And the first one is, do you ever regret transitioning? And the other one is, do you ever have doubts? And personally, for me, so far, I don't regret transitioning, and I don't think I ever will, because I just feel more like myself every single day that I'm on testosterone, and the further I get in my transition, the happier I feel, and the more I feel like myself, basically. Everything I did before transitioning makes more sense to me now than what it did then. I had a lot of doubts when I tried to figure out if I was trans or not, and then those doubts kind of disappeared more and more. I still had some of them when I started taking testosterone. What I've realized is that it is common for trans people to have doubts, and for me and for a lot of people, it has to do with that you're scared that you're gonna want to detransition in the future, and you're scared or very anxious about a lot of decision making in your life. I'm not saying you should just ignore all of your doubts, but I'm saying that it's normal and it's not something that should make you freak out. Like, I don't have them that much at all anymore, but I still have some moments where I'm like, oh shit, what if I'm actually not trans? Like, I know that I am, but I still have those anxious and intrusive thoughts. Moving on. Is it weird / offensive that I'm straight but am largely attracted to trans men? I don't know if this person is a straight woman or a straight man. If it's a straight woman, then it's not weird or offensive because you're attracted to men and trans men are men. It just means that you have great taste. But if it's a man, a straight man who's writing this, that means you're attracted to women, which makes it weird if you're attracted to trans men, because then that means you're just not straight. Simple as that. Do you still respond if you hear your dead name being called? I don't respond. It's not like I'm gonna be like, what? But I definitely react. Like, I guess it's like muscle memory from having that name for so many years. But it's more like an anxious type of reaction. Like I feel it in my stomach, just like nervousness, I guess. But then once I realize, oh, it's not me, they're not calling for me, then it just goes away basically. But it's still scary to hear it out and about, which doesn't happen that often. Next question about bottom growth again, I'm assuming. And the question is, how many inches has it grown? Like I mentioned, or did I? It's very individual, and for some people it's gonna grow more, for some people it's gonna grow less. And it's not like I have measured how much it has grown, and I don't even know how much an inch is because we use centimeters here. But yeah, it can grow like this much, but also like less. It really depends. It's not like it's gonna be like a full-on schlong, but it's gonna be a
Slurp.
And I don't know exactly how much mine has grown. To be honest, I don't remember exactly what it looked like before, because I never used to look because I have so much bottom dysphoria that I don't want to look. Another question about sex, how lovely. How can you have sex? It really depends what you want to do, because there are so many more ways to have sex than just penis vagina. You could have toys, you could use your hands, you could use your mouth. Everyone has different preferences and everyone likes different things. So you can use a like hard packer or like a strap-on basically to penetrate your partner, or you can still let your partner penetrate you because you still have two holes down there. Yeah, I mean, you can just do whatever you want. There are no rules. All right, those were all the questions I had time to cover today. There were a lot more that I would like to get into, but I don't want this video to be too long. If you have not subscribed yet, please do that, and I will see you in the near future with a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I will hopefully see you soon. Bye.